The NFC West. Let's kick it off with the Kyler Murray Arizona Cardinals. You don't have to worry about quarterback, Cardinals fans. You're good there after last season. Isn't that like a relief? You have your quarterback. Now, what is it about for the rest of the roster? Well, let's start off with the running back that performed very well for you last year. That is Kenyon Drake. So they're in a interesting pickle at the running back position are the Arizona Cardinals. Do you re-sign Kenyon Drake? Do you trade David Johnson? Do you let go of Kenyon Drake? And in my opinion, they want to keep Kenyon Drake. They want to re-sign Kenyon Drake. They want to trade David Johnson. The problem is David Johnson's contract. So they got to maneuver that. They got to figure that out. And I think that's step one on offense for them. Step two is the offensive line, which their top need is tackle, right tackle specifically, center number 2, right guard number 3, in my opinion. I believe that they will sign a right tackle. I don't know if it's going to be Brian Bulaga. I don't know if it's going to be Darrell Williams. I don't know if it's going to be Vaitai. I don't know who it's going to be, but they're going to sign a right tackle, and they'll probably draft one of these positions, center or right guard. I like McGovern for this offense. I like Garland for this offense at center as well. Wide receiver, they're good with Fitz. They're good with Isabella, Kirk. Those are 3 of your 4 starting receivers going forward. They could bring back their free agents if they choose to. I think they're going to draft somebody in the first round and maybe even in multiple rounds in this draft because Kingsbury, this is the time to draft your receivers because you know them well, because you played against them, you coach them, whatever it may be from college. So you draft a receiver, and I think you're good at receiver, really. If you get one number 1 receiver, you're good, because Kirk's a good number 2. Fitz is still a number 3 at this point, maybe even arguably a number 2. And Isabella is at least a good number 4, if not better than that. So you have that. At the tight end position, you don't really use it, right? Like the Arizona Cardinals offense doesn't really value the tight end position. So I kind of feel like that's not a big thing. You could re-sign Charles Clay if you like. Otherwise, I think they're fine, and they might just end up drafting somebody with some good measurables that they like. Now, defensively, there's a lot of interesting spots, because I could see the Cardinals upgrading almost every single spot on their defense, which is not a good thing, but it's also, you have to keep your mind open for this. I think they do need an edge rusher opposite of Chandler Jones. And they don't really have cap space for a number 1 type of guy, which they don't need one because they have Chandler Jones. But if you could add a complementary edge rusher that could help Chandler Jones, I think that would elevate this defense a lot. So look out for them to potentially be in the market for a number 2 edge rusher. And there's a lot of them. A veteran like, let's go down the list. Addison, Beasley, Irvin, Nassib, Ogba, Claiborne, Sheard. Any of those guys would be an upgrade from what they already have in like Cassius Marsh, who is god-awful. He sucks. I don't even want to talk about him. Interior defensive linemen, they could definitely look at. I think that's probably the place that they spend money on their defense, whether that's Shelby Harris, Hargrave, Reeder, Pierce, Brockers, Sue. One of these guys will be a Cardinal, because I think also another way to upgrade your Chandler Jones and get even more effect out of Chandler Jones and to help Chandler Jones, and that's the goal, is to get some interior pressure, and that helps Chandler Jones. So I think a defensive lineman might be a little less expensive than an edge rusher. They could afford upgrading both positions this offseason. Safety, outside of Budda Baker, they could use one. There's a lot of options out there. There's not a lot of great strong safeties out there, but they could potentially look at one there. And corner, Byron Murphy, they like, and Patrick Peterson is Patrick Peterson, although he's not quite the same player. And they have Robert Alford. They could definitely look to upgrade that, but I don't think that's a pressing need. They'll probably look to the draft for the corner position.